You saw the title of the video and it's talking about documentation and you're probably thinking, Charles, that sounds about as lame as it could be. Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you. However, today we're going to be talking about just how much documentation can do for us as technicians, and really, when it all boils down to it, how much more money we can put in our pocket. You know, I talk a lot about taking care of your customers and money not being the number one driving force behind our motivation and things like that. And that's really how I am. You know, give a little bit more to your customers than maybe you really want to. All that is true. I stand behind that 100%. However, like almost everyone that goes to a job to do some work that has a boss, I would go there to get paid. I like making money a lot, and I think there's so much opportunity in the automotive industry. However, a lot of people just sell themselves short, or they don't do the things that they need to do to make that money. I like making money a lot is the short version of that. So today we're going to talk all about documentation, just how important it is. And as I'm speaking to these things about documentation, my primary person I'm talking to is that new technician that's going to be at the dealership, because that's really the place where good documentation can set you far, far, far apart from everyone else. However, if you're at an indie shop or wherever, documentation is so important. And unfortunately, I think we do a really bad job teaching our young technicians just how important documentation is. For some, that's because they don't truly understand how important documentation is. For others, it's just like, yeah, write it down and it'll be fine. Today we're going to be diving deep into documentation with 3 things that we want to keep in mind and have as our target goal for our documentation. 1 is going to, of course, be getting paid more money and justifying how much money we're charging. 2, education, and to help us learn more about whatever systems that we're working on and things like that. And number 3, to overcome, at least for someone like me anyway, a very terrible, terrible memory. So we'll have all this documentation written down that we can go back and reference when we run into a similar problem down the road. Let's jump off with the first one, how to make more money and why documentation can increase the amount of dollars in your paycheck. Boy, that sounded like a late night infomercial saying right there, but it really is true. So let's start off at the dealer side first. When you do a repair, especially under warranty, you have to write a story. You write the story of your diagnostic process, what you found, what tests you ran, and what the results are. Let's take a very simple problem like a 12-volt outlet doesn't work, right? This is a very common VW thing, so nice and easy. If you got that customer that says, hey, my 12-volt outlet doesn't work, my cigarette lighter doesn't work, can you fix it? Of course we can, no problem, right? So we get this car in, and what's the first thing we do? We get our notebook out, and we go to verify the concern. We plug our tester in, and oh, sure enough, the little light doesn't light up for the 12-volt outlet. So we would write that down. Tested and confirmed, 12-volt outlet not operational. I would do a visual inspection on that 12-volt outlet and confirm that there's not a penny or a dime or something stuck down in the outlet. So I do my visual inspection. Nope, nothing in the outlet. Perform visual inspection, confirmed no outside influence for 12-volt outlet inoperative. Perfect. What are we going to do next? We're going to consult the wiring diagram and we're going to see what fuse powers the 12-volt outlet. Refer to repair manual, consult wiring diagram, verify that fuse S15 is the proper fuse for the 12-volt outlet, tested fuse and found fuse to be open or blown if you'd prefer to put it that way. All right, great. That's our next step and we write that down. Next, we go ahead and replace the fuse. Easy, replace, install good fuse. Test the outlet again. Retest outlet with new fuse. Found that 12-volt outlet is now operational. Are we done? Maybe, maybe not. Why don't we go ahead and load test that circuit to make sure that there's not a problem with the wiring? Load test circuit, confirm XYZ amps pull with XYZ amp draw component. Everything's operating as per design or operating correctly, whatever the vernacular that your brand wants you to use. The VW world, it was operating as per design or consistent with like vehicle. Either one would really be okay. And then we wrap up our repair, we give our customer our keys back, and we have taken those notes that we took during our diagnostic process and either written them on the RO or, today it's pretty much should all be computer-driven repair orders anyway. So we punch our story in and we're done. That is the steps that you are going to do anyway, right? We're going to test it, we're going to look at it, we're going to check our wiring diagram, We're going to check our fuses. Maybe we don't check the wiring diagram and we just test all the fuses. That's not a bad policy either. And then we fix it, and then we quality check and make sure that what we fixed actually corrected the problem the customer had. All in all, that probably took, about 7 or 8 minutes by the time we got the car in the stall. Think about all those notes that we went through. Think about that process that we went through. Compare that to a story that I've seen for the exact same scenario. Pulled in car, found blown fuse, replaced fuse, end of story. Which do you think of those two scenarios you're going to get paid more under warranty? Now, you might not get paid anything to fix a blown fuse under warranty. Let's just use these as an example. You're going to get paid more in the one where you walk the person that's reading the story step by step by step on what you did. If you put part bad, replace part, car fixed, that's what you're going to get paid for. The bare absolute minimum that you can get paid for, because that's all you've justified for your time. If you put your step-by-step pin drag test, tested wiring connector at location XYZ, right? The more detail that you have put into your story, odds are, in most cases, the more you're going to get paid. Think about what happens with that story that we write, okay? There's really like 3 people that we care what they think of that story. The first one is the warranty administrator, because that's the one that's going to book you your initial time, right? The next one is the customer, because whether it's customer pay or not, they deserve to know what was done to their car. And 3, that's going to be the warranty auditor. The way you want to approach writing your story is so that that warranty auditor, which probably is rather sharp when it comes to cars, at least the few that I've met, can see your vision and walk the path with you. Think about it this way. Think about you grab them by the hand and you walk them down your diagnostic path. And see, Steve, when I got here, this is what I did. And see, Steve, when I got here, this is what I did. Here's what I found. Here's what test I ran next because of my results. That is the mentality we need to have. We need to walk them step by step by step in each location with each test and a result that we find for our entire diagnostic process. Something like that fuse is pretty darn easy, and you know what? You might not have to write that down. But what happens when you're 3 days into a really crazy intermittent wiring problem and you never started writing things down? Well, I would have forgotten a lot of what I did on day one. So taking those notes as we go, vital, vital, vital. But if you come at a warranty story or any story with the approach of the person that I care the most about reading this story, customer, warranty auditor, warranty administrator, whoever, I want to grab them by the hand, not pretending that they're stupid, but grab them by the hand and walk them along with my diagnostic path. You're not going to be able to do that in most cases if you don't take those documentations from step 1 of verifying concern or step 1 checking TSBs. Every single thing you do goes into that documentation. From test drive to check fuses to volt drop test to consult repair manual for proper removal operation to check TSBs to check open recalls to run Carfax, right? Whatever you do, that goes into the documentation process. We focused a lot on warranty because as you do these warranty stories, you find that if you understand what they're looking for and understand how to take their system, leverage their rules, and maximize the time that you can get out of a repair, you're gonna make more money. So many people hate doing warranty repairs, and I get it. Like, sometimes you get screwed. Totally get it. However, in almost every case, I was able to make more money on a warranty job than I would have made if that exact same job was customer pay. At some point, the customer says, I don't want to spend any more money for your diagnostic time. Warranty, you got to fix the car. You can't just send it down the road because warranty doesn't want to pay anymore. You got to fix the car. The better job you do documenting, the more information in that story, the clearer your path was for someone like a warranty auditor or a warranty administrator or service manager, the more chance you have to get each one of those tenths every second that you spent on that ticket. If you have to spend 7 minutes digging through the repair manual to find a phrase or a term or an operation that you did because that's the way the manufacturer wants it done or written, You spend that 7 minutes because it's probably going to work out to pay you 20 minutes, 24 minutes, 18 minutes, right? We go in 6-minute intervals. Spend the extra time, get the story right, do it every single time. Trust me, you will make more money. You will get less crap from your warranty administrator and your warranty auditors and your service manager. And then when your warranty admin says, hey, you don't deserve to get paid 4 hours, I can only justify 2.5, you have on paper all the things you did. You go to your service manager and say, hey, service manager, look, here's what I did, here's the car I had, here's all the tests that I ran, I need help. Who do you think that service manager is going to help? The technician that writes the whole thing down, that is known for having a good track record of taking good notes and good documentation, or the one that says, car broke, fix car, car done? It's painfully obvious, right? So that's on the warranty side. The exact same thing happens and the exact same steps happen when you're dealing with customer pay. In some ways, it's almost more important, not so much for the dollars in your paycheck, but for the trust that you're building with your customer. Think about this way. If you charge a customer $500 for a diagnosis and you put found loose wire at connector, repinned wire, car fixed, do you think that any customer in their right mind says, wow, this is what customer thinks, and rightfully so. They fixed one wire and they charged me $500. Not fair. I got screwed, right? This is why customers think they get screwed. One of the reasons they think they get screwed. Contrast that with found broken wire as the ultimate repair, but then you list all the tests that you ran, all the stuff that you had to remove, right? Had to remove the seat, had to remove the carpet, had to remove the headliner, had to remove XYZ part, whatever. Here's how I found it. Not that I found it, here's how I found it. In fact, that's how I want you to think about it. Think about the process of how, not just that you found the problem. And all of a sudden, one, your warranty stories get very easy to write, or your customer pay stories get very easy to write. And two, you will make more money. People crap on flat rate a lot, and it's not a perfect system. However, a lot of those people that crap on flat rate either aren't fast enough, which is reasonable, won't put the effort in to use the system in place to their advantage rather than disadvantage, or they just don't work hard enough, and that's a big thing too. And if you don't believe me, look around your shop. There's one or two guys that they just don't work hard enough to make 60 hours a week, period, end of story. When I tell you that documentation is, if not one of the top 3 most important things a technician can do for their education, for their trust with their customer, for their paycheck, and for, if you're like me, your terrible memory, it's fact. It's not an opinion, it is fact. And this doesn't matter whether you're a dealership technician at Mercedes-Benz, it doesn't matter whether you're at a small mom and pop garage in the middle of nowhere, whether you're fleet, whether you're anything. This level of documentation sets you apart from your other technicians, hands down. Come at it with the approach like aircraft and helicopter mechanics have to do, right? Every single step is accounted for. If we approach our stories with every single step is written down and documented and accounted for, we will make more money. We will have customers that trust us more. We will be more successful. We'll have a book. I recommend also saving all these notes. We will have a book of diagnostic information that we can refer back to in 3 years when we have the same problem, and instead of being dumb like I was and going, I had this problem like 3 years ago, but I don't have any clue what the heck was wrong with the car. You can go back and go, oh, look, here it is. This is the steps that I took last time. This is the problem that I found. Let me just check that real quick, and lo and behold, it's the same problem, or it's not, and you've knocked something off the list very, very quickly. I'm sure that in your shop, or your dealership especially, your service manager harps on good documentation, make sure you put your stories in, blah, 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 blah. There's a reason they do that, because that's how everyone gets paid in the dealership. I don't care what you think of your service manager or your dealership. If it's that bad, you should quit. They are 100% right. Unfortunately, they don't do a very good job. They, as a whole, don't do a very good job of teaching us the right ways to do these things. So we're kind of on our own. Take these methods that I gave you today, apply them to your stories, start doing it, And I promise you, your hours may not triple like in a week, but you're gonna incrementally bump your hours up. And I don't know about you, but a half hour extra a day, an hour extra a week, all that stuff adds up. It may take some time, you may not see it, but I promise you, you're gonna be a better technician for it. You're going to get more customers for it. You're gonna get paid more for following good documentation process, good documentation habits. Learn what your brand expects and leverage that. You know what they want, do it. It may seem cliche and it may seem dumb and you probably are like, I'm tired of just doing things because that's the way it's supposed to be. I get it. But do you want to complain about the system that's in place and not do anything? Do you want to go to war with the system and try and change it, which you're probably not? Or do you want to function in the system, leverage the rules that they put in place to your benefit, because that's what they're for, and make more money? To me, the third option that I said was pretty much like the only choice, or get out of the industry is also another one. I don't mind that either if that's your plan and what you want to do. But you guys, I'm telling you, focus on this. You gotta fix cars. You gotta take care of your customers. You can't break stuff. This one is probably the easiest one to focus on. And I know you're probably thinking, Charles, I just watched this 12 or however many minute video and I want to fix cars. I didn't become a technician to do paperwork. Cool. I get it. I totally get it. So keep wrenching on your own car in your garage and don't do any paperwork for it. Because if you're not willing to do the documentation side of what your brand expects, you're not going to get paid as much as the guy next to you and you're going to be salty and mad, hate the auto industry. And if you're sticking in your own garage and doing your own work on your own car, odds are you're documenting something anyway. You guys, when I tell you, you can make more money than you're making now as a technician. You don't have to be a crook. You don't have to rip your customers off. You just have to use the tools that are in place, that are there for you to use, leverage them to your advantage, and do the work. It's really that simple. So I actually think I'm gonna start throwing out a challenge to you every week at the end of the video. My challenge for you is to take the next 2 to 3 weeks, level up your documentation, put a little more effort or a lot more effort into writing these stories, and track your hours and see, are you getting paid a little bit more or are you not? If you're not, what has changed for you because you're doing a better job documenting your work? Maybe you're a little more up to date on TSBs because you weren't ever looking at them before and now you are. Maybe you're not making more money, but you're not wasting a bunch of time trying to fix a car that has a service action for it that you are now searching for as part of your process. All of these little incremental steps are vital to increasing the number of dollars in your paycheck. And money for me is not the number one motivator. It's really not, and it's never been. I like taking, I like all the other stuff about the thing too, right? But I'm not going to a job to not get a paycheck. So while I'm there, I might as well make as much money as I possibly can. And if I can leverage a couple little things that are in place for me to leverage, you better believe I'm gonna do that. All right, with that, I'm gonna wrap it up. Challenge of the week. Document, 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 and let me know how it goes after maybe 3 weeks or so of that hardcore focus on documentation. With that, I'm out. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you again next time. Don't forget, all the other new technician videos are in one solo playlist listed down in the description. Bye-bye.